we will go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caitlin Fritz. I am part of the Bryan College Station Regional Association of Realtors. I am currently serving as the interim association executive. I also work as MLS staff. I do want to let everybody know we should be sending out more emails about it here very soon, but the Realtor Builder Committee that we split between the two organizations is hosting their Fall Fest on October 28th. So kind of save the date. You'll be seeing more information about that here shortly. We are also still looking for sponsors. If you are interested in that, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to get you all of the information. Alrighty, so I also want to mention we will have some question and answers at the end, but if y'all have any questions, I am going to be monitoring the chat. So if y'all will just type those questions into the chat, I will make sure that they get seen and we get you an answer. Yeah, so let's see, it looks like everybody's in. We're gonna go ahead and get started and I'll let Rose talk for a moment.
Okay, howdy y'all. Thank you for joining us today. We try to do these at least quarterly and provide you information about things that are happening within our community. We're also happy to welcome Adam Easton, who is our Government Affairs Coordinator, who works for both the Association of Realtors and the Greater Brazos Valley Builders Association. So today it's my great pleasure to introduce Frank Clark. He is Business Liaison and Special Projects Manager for the City of Bryan. We also are very happy to have him on our board of directors. He has served in an executive capacity on that board and has served for multiple years, as well as has received our Associate of the Year award multiple times. We're very happy to have Frank today to give us an update on some really exciting things happening in the city of Bryan. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Rose. I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's see. Okay, can everybody see that? I get a lot of head nodding, so I'm assuming that's great. I appreciate Rose and Caitlin giving me the opportunity to talk about our park today. This is the Travis Bryan Midtown Park update. And I am the project manager on the project, the overall project manager. Anyway, we've got some of the infrastructure and stuff is being handled by some of the city engineers. So, and I need the help. This is a pretty good sized project. Just okay, let's see if we can get it to work. There we go. All right, today I'll talk a little bit, just give you the background, how we got to where we're at today, and look at some of the current and completed infrastructure projects that we're doing in the park. The master plan. I've learned one thing about master plans, they change about every other day. And we'll talk about our new sports and event center that's been named the Legends Event Center, as well as an update on Big Shots, and then some other CIP projects that will be affecting the Midtown Park as they are worked, like South College rebuild, and then just go through a summary and then follow that up with questions and answers at the end. This all started back in December of 2017 when Wallace Phillips donated the old Barcrest Country Club to the city of Bryan to be used as the new city course. That was followed up toward the end of that month where the municipal golf course was closed. And this kind of played into the plan of a term that was used around here since I came to work in 2013 of a super park somewhere. So we've got 150 acres here right in the middle of town. It's actually located almost exactly between Bryan and College Station, the old College Station, or Texas A&M. Started it off in April of 2018 with a professional services contract with Burdett Consultants, who's Charles Burdett, a local, grew up in Bryan College Station, was very passionate about the park and that area and the old municipal golf course. They have an office in downtown Bryan, as well as their main office is in Conroe. Started out with their project vision and goals. Their goal was really just a vision, was come up with a regional park that serves the people with economic development in mind, and serves as a destination for regional and outside visitors. In other words, heads in beds. That's kind of what it's about in economic development. Their goal was to come up with a balanced sports and active recreation that can coexist with the open space, green spaces within the park. With it being an old golf course, you have a lot of green space. We wanted to try to save as much of the trees as we could. They're pretty mature trees. The only problem with the mature trees, a lot of them are post oaks, and as everybody knows, they're having a lot of problems this time of the year anyway, for some reason. Another goal was renewal of the lake and natural areas around that lake and throughout the park. Economic development through sports and recreation tourism, the heads and beds we mentioned a second ago. Accessibility for a range of people in both program and design. Connectivity to our, I guess, Bryan's Midtown and the rest of the city and the Texas A&M and the College Station. And to build what is lacking in the region, but don't try to outdo what already exists. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about there. And be impactful, but affordable. Part of their task was to go through and get some shareholder feedback. They met with the city of Bryan, the executive staff of the city of Bryan, parks leadership, as well as the Parks Advisory Board. They had discussions with the city of College Station, A&M, Experience BCS, Audubon Society, Arts Council, Bryan Business Council, sports leagues, and numerous other stakeholders and influencers. They did online surveys, and they had a couple of public meetings for direct input into what was needed in that park. Major findings. First one was just to respect the history of the park, renew and revitalize the lake. The average depth of that lake had pretty much about 2 feet, so had filled in with sediment over the years. And then there was a bad stigma associated with the lake, if anybody knows the history of it, to respect and preserve and revitalize the natural spaces of the park, attract visitors to Bryan. And then there was a need for indoor competitive space for local leagues, as well as tournaments, basketball, volleyball, and such. Paddle sports facility. There's a great number of folks that play pickleball here in town, and they had a strong presence in a lot of the meetings and input into what was needed at the park. A lot of folks felt like there needed to be some local baseball and softball diamonds, or at least improvement of those. For instance, like the Bryan Little League, and then multi-sport flat fields, what that configuration is to be determined later, and adventure sports opportunities. I think some of the presentations that we saw from Burdett were zip lines, canoeing, kayaking around the lake. Anyway, and then the park design, as Burdett had kind of went through all the shareholders. They made a presentation in November 13 at the city council meeting. And this is pretty much what they presented. And it's broken up into 2 different phases, where phase A was the Sports and Event Center. With about 800 parking spaces, sidewalks, landscape, and that would be tied in with a grand lawn, an amphitheater, concessions for the amphitheater, water features, play areas. And then up at Travis Park, which is just south of Bomber Stadium, that's where the old Bryan Little League fields were. They wanted to try to redo those, going with AstroTurf, new parking, new concessions, new stands. And then lake improvements, simply just clean it out. You can see there's a faint white line on that master plan. That is the old shoreline. They were recommending taking the shoreline out to that point. Park infrastructure, an entrance road there off Villa Maria. And then the phase B, maybe some type of flat fills, and that's still just TBD even today. So nothing's really changed in that. And then in March of 19, we entered into a service agreement with Stonehenge Holdings out of Conroe, with the promise, not really the promise, but the possibility of trying to get some private funding with some type of profit sharings, with some type of entertainment, maybe somebody to come in and build a big indoor facility for us, and then they would manage it and run it, and the city would maybe profit share out of it, some type of an agreement. That went on for about 5 months, and then we canceled that. There wasn't really much happening there, and didn't seem to be a lot of private money out there to do that sort of thing with. So we backed off of that and decided we would go at it on our own. November of 19, we issued a notice of intent for about $75 million in bonds, and then signed an engineering contract with Mitchell & Morgan, a local company, engineering firm. And then they immediately went to work. We knew what we needed it to look like from our master plan. So there was an ordinance passed by council reducing speed limit there on Villa Maria for the Midtown Park Boulevard entrance into the park. And then a resolution was also approved by council notifying the intent to finance expenditures or bonds. In January, those bonds were authorized. And in February, something that had been working in the behind the scenes, Big Shots land lease was executed for about 12 acres of land at the corner of Villa Maria and Finfeather. And then in March, the bonds were sold about 73 million, where 54 million of those would be used on the park project. And we had about another 10 to 14 million of cash on hand that we would use with that 54 million to work on the project. And then we have a new master plan. Pretty much settled out to this configuration for a while. We got the 3 fields up at Travis Field, and then you've got Big Shots located on their 12 acres. The city would build a driveway up from that first roundabout. I'm not sure I can use I guess anybody can see a cursor, but our responsibility to them was to build this driveway up to their parking lot here for that facility. The work on this Midtown Park Boulevard had already been started. And they kind of just go through some of the current and completed infrastructure projects there at the park. Immediately after Mitchell & Morgan came on board, they started working on a decel lane and working with TxDOT to make that happen. To clean that lake out, we needed some way to bypass the water coming in. And so that was immediately started and completed in June of 20. And then Midtown Park Boulevard to the first roundabout was completed in September of 20. The Travis Park fields and parking were started in June and completed in October. The lake rehabilitation the dirt work was actually started in September, and they'll be through next month. They're starting to scrape the banks right now. The lake started out about 17 acres. Right now, it's about 22.5 acres. Our permit with TCQ originally was 74 acre feet. We're going to be about 123 acre feet. So we've got some permit work to do with TCEQ, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers was involved in this project because it's waters of the U.S., of course. There's additional dam work that will be done. New spillways will be put in. That work will be started in October of this year and completed in fall. There was a detention and sedimentation pond that was put in to the north of Big Shots there. And engineers like detention ponds, but what I liked about it was the sedimentation part of it, and that was to catch sediment before it settled out in the lake and to refill it. We've got one more to do on another creek that's going in, but hopefully that'll prolong the depth of that lake for many years to come. Part of the infrastructure is a 2-mile outer loop trail. They'll go around the complete 150 acres. The first part of that trail will be around the Big Shots area. We wanted to get that in place where that'll be tie into Midtown Park Boulevard, as you'll see on both ends here in a minute. That'll be complete December, January of 22. So, and just a note about that, Big Shots is supposed to be open by Christmas of 21. So we're trying to finish that trail up about the same time they open their business. If anybody's driven by it in a while, up Villa Maria, but the gateway and landscaping's been completed there on the entrance off Midtown Park Boulevard. Big Shots driveway was started in June. It'll be completed in October. Something that was added, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, was the Midtown Park Boulevard is being extended all the way to Williamson, which is right there at the end of Bomber, where it comes from Carson. That'll be complete in April. And then our sports and event center, which is a little under 123,000 square feet. We signed a design build agreement with Spall Glass and PBK Sports back in July of 20. We hired sports facility management out of Clearwater, Florida, to not only advise us and help us with the layout of the facility, but they manage about a dozen indoor and outdoor ball fields throughout the U.S. And we actually have a management agreement with them to operate the facility once it's open. And see, the design was complete in May. Construction was started in June, and we should be complete, depending on weather days, in November of 22. So that's coming along really good. So the final master plan we saw a while ago had the Big Shots. After we started working with PBK and Spall Glass, the architects asked right up, at the beginning of, where do you want the back of the building to be? In other words, where do you want the dumpsters and the loading docks and everything else? In this configuration, we really didn't have a location for that. Everything was visible from the park. And then there's other discussions that went kind of like, so this really isn't something that needs visibility from a road or a street. You don't need traffic because it's a destination. People are coming from out of town. They're coming to go to a tournament that their kids are playing in. They're coming to watch something there at the indoor facility. So there's really not any use in putting it right on Villa Maria. And then our city manager and the mayor, they're really wrestling with having, I think this was showing 800 parking spots, all that being seen in Villa Maria, and that really wasn't preserving that green area. We still need parking spots, but we felt like we could spread it out a good bit to where you just didn't have a big black spot within the park. So within that first meeting, we rearranged it and moved the indoor facility back on the backside, right off of Williamson, at the really the intersection of Williamson and Bomber. And to do this configuration, we actually had to go ahead and extend Midtown Park Boulevard all the way through to Williamson. You'll see this configuration here. This was the first roundabout that's built today. We're adding a roundabout here for entrance into the Legend Event Center. And then there'll be another roundabout at Williamson and Bomber. And there's some other follow-up projects that'll happen in the future that'll redo Williamson, redo Bomber all the way down to the roundabout here. And then South College project is coming up as well. Legend Event Center will have 8 full-size high school basketball courts that can be curtained off individually or quarterly or however you want to do that. Those will be striped as well for volleyball. It's just going to be a big open court area for gymnastics, wrestling, pickleball, archery, soccer, really anything that you could guess, cheerleading, trade shows, exhibits, concerts, mini conferences. There's even a separate e-gaming room in the facility, and we'll look at the floor plan here in just a second. These are the actually approved logos that SFM helped us with, and pretty much input from all of our council as well as the mayor and anybody that had an opinion. A name went up on the chalkboard, and it was settled out at Legends Event Center. This is the floor plan. See the big multi-purpose event floor with 8 basketball courts. Going through the entryway here, lobby, there'll be ticketing windows here at the entry plaza, kind of a Sally Port door system here with a round kiosk. There'll be an attendant there. You got a food court to the left. The concourse is shown here in the yellow is actually raised 4 feet above the event floor. That kind of helped us with trying to maintain or staying within our budget, but also elevated you up where you could watch games as well. A little bit easier from the concourse area. You got, go back to the right here, you got a big arcade with modern games. And sports facility management, like I said, they're making a recommendation on the games to purchase for that. Be a redemption area with party rooms here in the back. There's a 2,500 square foot turf area. SFM's telling us they can have mini soccer camps for the young kids. Just any birthday parties could have dodgeball or whatever they wanted to inside that turf area. There's a esports area there, which will have about 10 to 12 computers set up on tables for gaming. Down at the event floor level, the flex rooms drop down 4 feet at that same level, but there's about 6,500 square feet of flexible space there that can be divided in with these big curtain walls with a caterer's kitchen located in the back, set up with tables, walk-in coolers, walk-in freezer. And then if you continue on around, you've got floor loading area for your trade shows, booths and stuff like that for bringing stuff, with bus parking in the back. Back around, you've got the storage area with a dock, drop-down dock, chiller yard, your mechanical stuff. There's a separate room for the referees. One of our councilmen does refereeing on the side for basketball and felt like he had some input into that room, but we've got showers and lockers in there for them. They'll have some break tables and stuff like that. The admin offices for the SFM to manage restrooms and concessions, and a food court with outdoor seating. Back up to where the flex rooms are there on the right, you've got a big patio overlooking the lake. SFM's gonna make a proposal on doing some outdoor volleyball courts, sand volleyball there along the lake. And this area will go from grass to the water, so it'll be just a gentle slope property. If we have time to look at some of the drone footage, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about there. But where it's situated here, you're looking at about all the way to Villa Maria. There won't be anything but water out of that side of the patio, and then the flex rooms have a glass along that whole wall that you'll be able to see out to the lake. Anyway, that's kind of the current configuration, and that's what's being built today. It's a little different view. This just shows a little another view of the floor plans, flex rooms, esports rooms. This is walking in the front door, the kiosk to the right. They'll have an attendant there, and then this is what you'll see. Concessions off to the left. They've got a 10-foot halo video board for displaying and advertising current, what's happening, the schedules. This is from the court looking back up toward the front, back toward the concessions, the kiosk there. Tables set around the edge, families to eat and watch the games. Just another little different view from the concession area. Like I said before, the 8 basketball courts and then the 16 volleyball courts. SFM recommended using tip and roll bleachers for the different configurations. They can reconfigure. The way we're setting this up, they could go in about 8 hours, turn everything around from a full-blown basketball tournament to a full-blown volleyball tournament. All the bleachers and everything are tip and rolls. There are some built-ins along that bottom side. I believe there's 2 rows of permanent seating, but the rest of the seating is made up of tip and roll aluminum bleachers. Just showing where you could shut down half of it with curtains. We've got curtains that hang from the ceiling that will drop down, so you could do a concert on one end and still that you would want to do that, but you could have basketball on one end and do a concert or some other type of event on the other, or trade show on half of it, 160 booths, double that to 320 booths. And that flex meeting space, you could have 320 floor seats total in the full configuration to a conference layout where you're actually separating the rooms into with those division curtains, and then banquets and wedding layouts. Exterior, the elevations. This is using the latest colors. I think the brick may be a little bit darker now, but that's for the most part what the entryway is looking like. Just another view, seeing the patio on the right. You don't see the lake there, but that patio will be looking down the full length of the 23-acre lake. It's another view there. That patio, we're not going to have the planters in there unless we go back and add those back in. But you can see, I think the architects at one time put in the renderings of some sand volleyball courts. This would be looking out of the flex space to the lake, arcades, and some other park amenities. There's going to be a boardwalk. That exact configuration hadn't been decided yet, but somehow we've got to work that in with an outdoor amphitheater. There's going to be a couple of fishing piers. We've actually done an RFP where we've got some proposals for the lake to be professionally maintained. There'll be some water features, kind of like out at the Stella Lake out there. There'll be 4 of those fountains in the water. Those are to help with the health of the lake, as well as they'll have LED lighting and stuff like that for lights at nighttime that we can just add some nice water features. We're working in several different groups on doing some canoeing, kayaking, and fishing gear rentals for the lake. Of course, outdoor beach volleyball, we're waiting on a proposal from SFM on that. And I'm working with 3 different firms with NDAs right now, wanting to locate in or adjacent to the park. And these are just, if we can get 1 or 2 of these would be awesome. It's just what it will bring to that area, redevelopment and just entertainment, family entertainment. Big shots, we hadn't talked much about big shots, but like I said, they're supposed to be open by Christmas. We have a meeting every Monday morning and they're still holding to that. So hopefully we can make that. And their contractor tells me that they should be very close to making that. So we'll see. That facility is owned by kind of a joint corporation called Big Shots Aggie Land, Club Corp, as well as Dr. Jim and Allison Butler of Bryan College Station. Some of y'all may know them. About a $14 million facility and site investment. Within the facility, we're looking at about 40,000 square feet with 60 bays. When I say a bay, that's one couch and seating area for playing the game, the golf. A lot of the people know what Top Golf is, and I've been to both. We toured the new Big Shots facility in Fort Worth about 3 months ago at their grand opening. And it's very, very similar to Top Golf. In fact, the Big Shots folks don't mind if you do call them Top Golf. It's the same principle. The technology is a little bit different. I think the one thing, the way it's been explained to me, is Top Golf uses sensors in their golf balls. So there's special golf balls that don't hit necessarily like a golf ball. I'm not a good enough golfer to tell the difference. I wouldn't know if there's a sensor in a ball or not, but evidently the golfers do or can tell. Big Shots uses Doppler technology, like your Doppler radar that the weather guys are always talking about to track the balls. So that's really the difference. They've got private event space in there, full scratch kitchen, 2 sports bars. Like I said, opening by 2021 Christmas. I've got a video here. Hopefully it'll play. We tried it a while ago and the sound didn't work, but this was prepared by Big Shots, of course. But this is the configuration that will be in Bryan College Station. There'll be a putt-putt golf out front.
Frank, we're not seeing the video.
Frank, did you hear Rose there?
We are not seeing the video.
Say that again.
We are not seeing the video.
Are you seeing it, Rose? No?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing it.
It was working earlier.
It
What
was
did I know?
working earlier. Yeah.
Let's
At the top where you have your screen share, do you have it set to share just one window, or do you have it set to show your whole screen?
Well, right now, are you seeing it where I have a link that says you economic development?
Yes.
Okay. Let me
Yeah, if you go to your screen share settings, sometimes it will separate them out and just show one window, or you have the option of doing your entire monitor. I think that might be what's happening, but I'm not sure. Zoom is an interesting thing, technology.
all right, how about that?
There you go.
All right, I'm gonna start back at the front.
Thank you.
Do you hear any music?
It's that annoying background music, yes.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay.
But it's very faint, so
All right. It may just be because we're on the internet.
you may just want to speak over it anyway.
Yeah, and this is going into entrance. And what's neat about this facility is it's got a putt-putt golf out front of the facility that you can play with seating areas as well. This is going into entryway. Those that have been in a Top Golf before recognize the bays out back. There's kind of a putt-putt area there. The way this facility is laid out, it has 30 bays on the bottom floor and then 30 up top.
Feels like we're in a video game, Frank.
Well, you kind of are. I don't know who all's played it, but it's a lot of fun. Only problem is nobody's moving. Okay. All right. Are y'all seeing a new screen that says CIP projects affecting Midtown?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're back on track then. As I said a while ago, there's some other projects. There's a project that was done on South College from Villa Maria to the College Station city limit line that was been finished a couple of years now. That has a big wide multi-use path that A&M actually went and extended it on up to University. So all that's tied in. There'll be a phase 1, 3, and 4 that will take and improve South College Avenue all the way from Villa Maria to 29th Street, which is there at downtown. Between now and 26, the first part of that will be done between Villa Maria and Carson. That construction is supposed to start in 2024. The engineering's been started on that, so we'll be able to hit the ground running. Williamson Drive is the road that is really the back door there to the big indoor facility now. That work will be done out of the 26 bonds, and then Bomber Drive, Carson to Williamson will improve that. And then something that plays into everything downtown is that downtown quiet zone, where that project has been started. I don't know if anybody's been downtown here lately, but they've started mediums or islands there at the crossings. So that's in work. And then I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is just showing the different phases of that South College improvement. There'll be a big multi-use path and a sidewalk along Carson all the way to downtown that goes to University when this is all done. Anyway, if anybody has any specific questions or wants a copy of this presentation, I'll be happy to give that to them, but didn't want to spend a lot of time on this construction project, other than this is, it's a kind of a total package, total redevelopment of that area between A&M and downtown Bryan along that South College corridor. So in summary, Midtown and Travis Bryan Midtown Park is what this project is. The lake will be through here in the next month. Travis Fields, October of this year. Big Shots Aggieland by Christmas 21, the Sports and Event Center. It says summer 22. It's really November of 22. The future, we're going to have an amphitheater, but maybe the future will be some type of enhanced amphitheater. And I'm talking about maybe around the stage area. We're going to have the big green fields in the stage area. We may not be covered right now. We've only got so much money, so we're trying to save money here and there to make something happen with an amphitheater. Additional fields, we don't know what types are needed right now, and that'll have to come in the future. And of course, the boardwalk And the mayor is pretty adamant that we're going to have a boardwalk. So we're going to have a boardwalk, and then maybe some other expanded recreational activities and family entertainment. Any questions and answers? And I don't know, Caitlin, if you've got any, but I can show some actual drone footages of the construction site if anybody's interested.
I did have one question.
Okay.
Says, what is the square footage of the floor space for the basketball courts and trade show area?
That's a little bit north of 80,000 square feet.
Perfect. And I do want to, I did mention it earlier, but we will be recording this and putting it on our website. So if anybody has any questions or wants to review it or share it with anyone they know, it will be on our website later today. All right, I think you can go ahead and show some drone footage if you'd like. Unless
Okay.
anyone else has questions.
Let me see if I can get it to where y'all can see it. Y'all seeing, looks like drone footages? All right. This is the start of Big Shots driveway. This is the first roundabout. The landscaping has been done on the Midtown Park Boulevard. This is the bridge for the driveway to Big Shots. I'm kind of fast forwarding because got an engineer driving the drone right now and he's interested in the water lines. I'm gonna get a better video here in just a second. There's a driveway up to the Big Shots. And they're supposed to start putting their netting poles up in a couple of weeks. Once that starts, they'll do all their drainage and everything. For that whole part that you hit the balls is actually a synthetic turf. And evidently they do that at the very last. There's that sedimentation pond I was telling you about a minute ago that we put in to capture that sedimentation. And the way that thing is made, it's got a concrete wall on one side. And once that fills up with a certain amount of sedimentation, they'll just take front end loaders in there and then scoop it out, and that prevents it from getting in the lake and filling it in. Villa Maria out there, you can see, and that's that first roundabout. This is the extension from that first roundabout to Williamson. This will be our Midtown Park Boulevard all the way through the park. That is a satellite parking lot right there, dirt pile to the right, or the area. I don't know if y'all can see my cursor, but that area will be about 160 parking spots there. This will be, there was an intermediate roundabout. This is going up under the roundabout. It's a channel, rectangular for the water to flow through. And then that's Williamson there at the top of the screen. And there's Bomber Drive. That's an intersection there. So the red dirt is the foundation or the select field that's being put in for the foundation of the indoor facility. And this is looking back toward Villa Maria with Kyle Field there at the top. and then the lake off in the background. We have not allowed the lake to fill up. There's still one more valve that needs to be put in so that we can completely drain it down, but they won't allow it to fill up until that's done. Anyway, that's kind of what I've got. Anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to take those. We get new videos every week. If somebody actually wants to go out and see the site, I'll be glad to tow them around in the air-conditioned pickup or on a Polaris. Anyway, I hope you kind of are excited about what's coming to Bryan. We are. I think our consultants are telling us that we'll have over a million visitors each year just during the tournament play is what they've been, their estimate is. So that's a lot of heads in beds. Anyway, great. If anybody has any questions, Caitlin, I guess you take over. And
No questions? Y'all are a quiet bunch today.
A lot of great information, and wow, the city of Bryan just continues to do great things. You know, I'm really excited about some of the smaller venues within the bigger venues, you know, that you can section out and do different events. And it was just very exciting to see that we're going to have some other meeting options, meeting room options, and potentially trade show options too.
Yes.